Oh, hi there. I'm Kathleen from ilovebewell. I'm re-recording my first video because now I have a better camera. Okay? So my message might be a little bit different because I don't have a script written. So we'll see what happens. Let's do it. Okay, so you might know me from my Instagram page, I Love Be Well, where I spread positivity and practices that help me get through difficult times in life, like a global pandemic. That's what we're going through right now. I know we're all feeling the effects of everything that's going on right now. It's crazy. Okay, I'm here to do a wellness check in with you and share my tips and tricks for giving yourself some grace during a global pandemic. So let's get started. So, first thing we're going to do is understand our brains. I think it's really helpful to understand what our brains are doing to us during this time. Also, we're going to go over how to use CBT, that's cognitive behavior therapy strategies, to help you get through this time. It's really helpful. Also, we're going to talk about allowing yourself to just be, which is much harder than it sounds. And we're going to go over finally practicing gratitude, which is the game changer. Okay, so first of all, I think it's really important to understand what our brains are doing to us during this time. So, knowing is half the battle. While we are living in isolation during the global pandemic, our brains are going through something that's called allostatic load. So, you may be feeling tired. You may be feeling unmotivated, like your brain is just foggy and you don't know what to do next. It's because of a term called allostatic load. So during this stressful times, our bodies are releasing so many stress hormones. It is having an effect on our bodies and our minds in many different ways. The things I just said: sluggishness, tired, not able to focus. It's because our body is releasing so many stress hormones that it's just completely fogging up our brain and messing us all up. So, not seeing people daily makes our brains believe that we are not safe. And that is why our brain is working overtime to try to protect us. Okay, so if you didn't know already, cortisol is the stress hormone. And we're basically just releasing so much cortisol that it's affecting us. You may be also noticing some weight gain. That's also because of our cortisol levels. I have another video on that. Take a look. Okay, so worrying and ruminating on what the future could look like is releasing this cortisol hormone, and that is what is really making us feel exhausted and unmotivated. So for me, when I do research and then I can understand what's going on with me in my brain, things I can't even control, it allows me to practice a little more forgiveness, a little more grace, and give myself an easier time. Our brains are doing things to us that we cannot even control. So you have to just accept it and let it be. And I know it sounds really corny, but you just have to allow yourself to feel your feelings. Be okay with not being okay. We are going through a global pandemic. No one in our generation has ever experienced this before. And of course, it's stressful. It's a very stressful time. So just give yourself a break and, we'll talk about more wellness techniques as we continue. So the other thing that has helped me throughout my wellness journey is using cognitive behavior therapy strategies. I'm in therapy. Hopefully, if you have good health insurance, you are too. And CBT has helped me tremendously. So basically, cognitive behavior therapy is identifying and changing inaccurate or distorted thinking patterns, emotional responses, and behaviors. And we're probably having a lot of those right now. It's really easy to have distorted thinking right now, to think that life will never go back to normal. I'll never go back to work. I'll never see my friends again. It's completely overwhelming. But those thoughts are not helpful. Okay, cognitive behavior therapy strategies help you to rethink your thought patterns. So, one thing that you can do is when you notice this negative or distorted thinking, you can ask yourself, what is a more helpful thought? Thinking you'll never go back to work or see your friends again is not it's not productive. So instead, you can focus on what you can do now to feel better, to get ready to go back to work. Maybe you want to look for a new job. Maybe you can just get in contact with your friends. And I know it's not ideal, but it can be helpful. So, another question you can ask yourself to help you with distorted thinking is, if my friend had this thought, what would I tell them? This is a great question because a lot of times it's easier to give advice than to accept it. So think about, how would you calm your friend down if they were going through a hard time right now? And my other favorite question to ask myself is, what is the best possible outcome? It gets your brain to focus on the positive instead of the negative, distorted thinking. There's a lot of great resources online for cognitive behavioral therapy, and you can look them up and try to refocus and reframe your thoughts so that you can feel better. Finally, or not finally, next, allow yourself to just be. That's really hard. What does that mean? Give yourself grace. It's kind of abstract. What does it mean? Well, I think the first thing we have to do is acknowledge that this time of stillness is not what we expected. I'm in New York, which is one of the hardest hit places. And going into this, I thought it would be 2-3 weeks, a month at most. And I was thinking I'm going to do all these great things and projects around my house, and I'm going to do exercise every day and a lot of things I never got to. Why? Because of allostatic load and just the stress of being in a global pandemic and, home with family and kids. So, first, just acknowledge this is not what we expected. Then what? I would say don't compare yourself to anybody else. Comparison is the thief of joy. There is no right or wrong way to do a pandemic. If you are not motivated and you're not doing 100 things a day, that's okay. Just allow yourself to relax and take things day by day. And if that's not working, hour by hour, just do the next right thing. And if you find yourself comparing yourself to others and having a lot of negative thoughts or becoming jealous or whatever, limit your social media time. It's not helpful. If it's making you feel bad, get off of it. Set a timer for yourself and move on to something that would be more productive. Also, you should observe without judgment. Allow yourself to feel how you're going to feel throughout the day. Feel your feelings, but don't judge them. I learned this mantra in my yoga practice. My favorite yoga teacher says this all the time. Observe without judgment. It's really important. If you are already sad or stressed out, judging yourself for feeling this way is just going to make it worse. So don't do it. Observe without judgment. Being sad is okay. Being stressed out is okay. Be as productive or not productive as you want without judgment. Judgment will only make you feel worse. Okay, and finally, practice gratitude. Gratitude is the real game changer for any wellness journey, and it costs nothing. It's so easy to do. Gratitude is the universe's highest vibration. If you can practice gratitude instead of negative thinking, you'll be a lot happier. So here's 2 goals you can work on. Goal 1, combat negative thoughts with those of gratitude instead. Instead of feeling negative about having to cook every day and clean the dishes every day over and over and over again, that's not productive. Instead, you can think, I am so grateful that I can get this food. I am so grateful that I can provide for my family. I am so grateful that I have the ability to stand in my kitchen and cook and clean and take care of my family. It is something to be grateful for, and it's a great way to combat a negative thought. And your next goal is find creative ways to practice gratitude. There's tons of ideas on the internet and on Pinterest. And if you're not sure what to do, now is a great time to start journaling about gratitude. It's easy. You can do it throughout the day. You can write 5 things you're grateful for when you wake up and see if that doesn't help you throughout your day. Gratitude is something that is a complete game changer. It really helps you to rewire negative thinking. To be grateful. We have a lot to be grateful for. So that's it. That was your wellness check-in for today. How to give yourself grace during a global pandemic. I'm not sure if this was as good as my first video, but I did it. Okay, I'm Kathleen DeMonico. I'm at ilovebewell on Instagram, ilovebewell@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you and know if this video was helpful. Be well.